Hi, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Divorce Resource Guy podcast. I am your host, Jason Lavoie, aka the Divorce Resource Guy. But today is not another traditional episode of the podcast. Today, I am so happy to be here with my friend Reneé Rodriguez because we are announcing our new divorce coaching program for those people who are pro se, representing themselves, and looking for help. And even if you're not pro se, but you're looking for help, this program I think will be excellent for you. It's brand new. We've been working for months, getting it ready for you guys. And so we wanted to talk about it. And you guys are getting the first sniff of what we're going to be offering. So welcome, Reneé. How are you today?
Yeah, good. I'm so glad to be here. Yes, I'm so excited. You're right. We've been working on this for months to get it right. Yeah.
Right. And we'll be tweaking it along the way. But basically, for those who don't know, well, let's start off like this, Reneé. For those who aren't familiar with you, give everybody just a little bit of a background about who you are and the programs that you've been running and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I know some people may be like, do I know her? So you and I actually met on your podcast. So some of you may have seen me, heard me talk before. So I created the custody blueprint. What I do is I'm a custody consultant and strategist and a domestic violence advocate. And my company, Best Foot Forward Consulting, created the custody blueprint for parents, who turns out to be mostly moms, quite frankly, who are in a custody battle with a high conflict co-parent to come in and get the blueprint. The blueprint was something that I created during my own custody battle with a high conflict co-parent. Mostly what we focus on is helping people to put together the documentation, figure out a strategy, and get their mindset straight so that they can go in and give themselves the best possible chance. And it's done incredibly well for our clients. We've had a really high, what's considered a success rate. People went in wanting something and they came out the other end getting it. Obviously, there's never any guarantees, but we're really, really excited about the work we're doing. And so that's my world. And I feel like I'd love to chat a little bit about how we came up with this idea for our program. Yes, which we do have a title for, Jason.
Yes. It is called the Divorce Authority Program.
The Divorce Authority Program, which we're so excited about. Yeah.
Absolutely. And basically, it's a combination of your custody blueprint program and my Divorce U coaching program. For those who don't know, I offer a online membership program called Divorce U. It's month to month, and it basically walks you through every stage of the divorce process with a two-part process. One, divorce tutorials, video tutorials, which empower you with the information you need to know to get through every stage of the process, and then live coaching with me and other members of the program. And of course, I also do one-on-one coaching. So we're combining our forces, so to speak, to give you guys the most, I would say, the most comprehensive online divorce and custody help that you can get. And it's really for a fraction of the price of hiring an attorney if you can't afford one. And, we're trying to make it just a resource that there's nothing else like it out there that we found. Right, Reneé?
Right. We did a lot of research in this, and I think we're really just trying to make it much more accessible for people. And I remember I loved this idea I had when I was thinking in my head about the people who I work with, my clients, and I was thinking, this really feels to me like you're right. This is something that's going to be useful for everyone who's going through divorce and everyone who's going through custody. But I think for me, what really kind of engendered the idea was, you have people come into your program, you have people come into my program. Now we can serve people who need both, but there's this group of people. There are people who go through court, they've got a lawyer, and then they just kind of get priced out of it. the battle goes on and they run out of money, right? Maybe
Yeah.
you don't have a lawyer right now, and maybe you're saving up to get a lawyer again. But so many of my clients were suffering from financial abuse. And they had a lawyer they liked, or they had a lawyer that wasn't doing such a great job. Who knows, right? No matter what representation they had to give it up because they ran out of money because of the litigation abuse that they were suffering from their co-parent. And that was one audience that I thought, how do we serve them? And then I was thinking about other audiences that are forced to be self-represented or choose to be self-represented for a period of time, right? And I know you and I have talked about the fact that it's better to have that lawyer, right?
Yeah,
agreement on that.
Right. We don't want to make the mistake, or we don't want to, I guess, miscommunicate with people. If people have been following me, then they understand that I always advocate get a lawyer as one member of your divorce team. There should be others if you can afford one. But the reality of the situation is there are people, a lot of them, who can't afford one. But if you want to get divorced, you still got to go through the process. Right. So those are the people we're trying to serve. In addition to those with attorneys and are still looking for some guidance, because I'm sure you've Reneé have dealt with this many times dealing with your clients in custody issues. People with attorneys still have stresses and issues communicating with their attorney. They're not sure if they're doing a good job. They're afraid to talk to them because they don't want to get billed at their hourly rate. There's a plethora of things that they need help with, even if they have an attorney. So we help with that. And we could help you if you're saving up for an attorney the first time, or again, because you had to give yours up at some point. We can help you pick the right attorney for your situation. So we do everything. We're trying to make this program, sort of all encompassing to help you no matter where you are in your process. And the best part about this program, I think, is if you have minor children and custody is going to be an issue, then it's like I was just thinking about this, Reneé. I'm calling it like a vitamin B12 shot because your program focuses specifically on custody issues and going through that, which really it's its own battle and its own niche, and requires its own attention as part of the overall divorce. So if you're dealing with that, this program gives you such in-depth knowledge and help with the custody part of it, in addition to the overall divorce.
Yeah. And what I love about what you and I are putting together with the Divorce Authority program is we do focus on the custody issues with the custody blueprint. And that's pretty much our sole focus, although we are also helping people partner better with their lawyer, because I love the way you talked about the fact that you have to have a team really to succeed in family court. But what I love about what we're doing is we don't have that divorce component, right? We really are just focusing on the custody piece. Excuse me. So like together, I love that we're putting your divorce specific knowledge, my custody specific knowledge together for people who are either choosing to or have to go through it alone. And when we talk about a team, I know that some of the things we always recommend when we talk to people are to have that coach there, right? With the coaching that you and I do, you spoke a little bit about the fact that you're paying your lawyer a lot per hour. When you have a coach, it's just a flat fee. And a lot of the stuff that I find clients when they first come to me, the emails they're sending to their lawyer is kind of like, this is not the stuff you should be paying per hour for your lawyer to look at.
Right.
This is what your coach is for. Or even sometimes I find myself directing my clients to say, this kind of stuff is not even me, it's your therapist. Exactly. Or this is something you should go to your child's play therapist or therapist about. This is, these are different issues that you're going to your lawyer about at least $250 an hour, usually about $375 on up to $750 an hour. And it's like, no, don't be paying them that amount of money when you've got your coach for that to look at it and say, we're very good, I think, at looking at things and saying, okay, here's what you want to do here, here's what you want to do there. Oh, this email you do want to send to your lawyer. So it's almost like you're using us to figure out, when do I pay my lawyer this amount of money versus I have you guys for the rest of it, right?
Yeah, I kind of think of us as coaches as somebody, described what we do as like a project manager, which I thought was kind of apt. Um, you know, and trust me, as an attorney myself, who was a practicing divorce attorney, your attorney doesn't want you to contact them every day with issues that really they shouldn't be dealing with, or they're not best equipped to deal with. They wear a very specific hat in this process. They're representing you legally in your divorce, right? That doesn't mean that they're not your therapist. They don't want to be your therapist, and they don't want to even be your coach because they don't know what that means. Okay, I could tell you that. And so, they're tasked with, a very specific role in your divorce, and that's to represent you legally in court, filing motions, papers, helping you in negotiations, and that writing up agreements, that sort of thing. So a lot of people, right, contact their attorney because they have nobody else to contact because their attorney is the only person on their team. And that's the kind of misconception we're trying to dispel, is that, an attorney is a vital member of your divorce team, or should be, but they're not the only person that you should be considering. And so coaches like Reneé and myself help you figure out kind of where you should be using your limited resources. So in the long run, when the divorce is over, you're actually spending less money than if you just had an attorney.
Yeah. And I'm excited that with the Divorce Authority program, we're helping people who are going in on their own. I mean, it's when I do have clients who are going pro se, it's just, they talk about walking in and just feeling way underwater, right? Maybe their ex has a lawyer, maybe they don't, but it can be difficult to not know the processes, not know what to be going in and doing and saying, right? Like, how much should you be sharing with the judge versus how much needs to be brief? And I know that you and I have put together a lot of templates to help people just be able to go in, and even if they're not partnering with a lawyer and they're going in on their own, so that they're not, irritating people. There's this great study. Oh, I wish I had the name of it, but where they are talking about how judges do get annoyed with people who are going pro se, right? Because they're coming in and they're talking too much. They're talking about things that aren't relevant. And that can tank your case pretty quickly, and definitely tank the way that the judge is perceiving you.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's so important that you know how to prepare yourself to go in so that you're not going to tank your reputation or your case in front of the lawyer. In fact, what we want to do is we want to show you how to go in so that you're really showing them what's relevant, what's compelling, and what's really going to show the truth of what's going on between you. Because we know that if you're in court, it's because you're dealing with somebody who is high conflict, right?
Yeah, so true. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. Half of what we do as coaches is not only telling you what you perhaps should be doing, giving you the information that you need to know that you probably don't have, but also telling you what you should not be doing. And a lot of people make the mistake of doing the wrong things at the wrong time, saying the wrong things, and it's hard enough. Trust me, everybody, it's hard enough as attorneys to go through this process. Judges yell at attorneys all the time because they're not listening, or they're, saying the wrong things, and they don't, some attorneys don't even know the proper procedures. So it's not expected that you should know all this stuff, because it's overwhelming, and it's a lot. And that's why attorneys go through all their schooling and experience and have all that knowledge. But if you're going to court and representing yourself legally, you're expected to know all this stuff. The judge is not going to, or should not be giving you any deference or special treatment because you don't have an attorney. That's not how it works. So some people expect that. And judges are people. So if they have a good heart and, they feel really bad for you, they'll be more lenient maybe with you, but they're not going to bend over backwards and let you do things that you're not legally allowed to do just
Right.
because you don't know the procedures
Right.
or the rules of evidence or anything like that. And so it's overwhelming. There's no doubt about it. And half of the process is preparing the right way. So when you go into court, if you're going in by yourself, you have a fighter's chance, right? Nobody knows what the judge is going to do or the outcome. Like Reneé said at the beginning, we can't guarantee you results, but we can put you in the best position to succeed.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's about not self-destructing yourself and doing things that we know is not going to work in your favor. So you got to prepare the right way, and that's what this program is all about.
Yeah. It reminds me of, so I have a client who recently had to go pro se, Elizabeth. And it was kind of cool what happened with Elizabeth, because when she came, she had talked about the judge just hated her lawyer, hated her, hated the whole process. And then she came to me, she said, look, I'm coming to you because we're getting a new judge and I want everything to just be different this time. I don't have a lawyer. How can you help? And so she went through the Blueprint program and she prepared herself with particular templates. And I'll tell you the things that made a huge difference for her was that she selected the stuff that actually mattered. You know, when I talk with my clients, I like to talk about, let's just pretend we're the court, because everything that you've gathered here, all the documentation that you've gathered is valid. It definitely shows what's going on. But to the court, they're going to see a lot of this as gripes, is what I call them. So let's take out all the stuff that they're going to see as gripes. And let's take a look at the stuff that's left over. And she was really surprised with what was left over. But here's the interesting thing. When we pulled the stuff out and we were left with the stuff that was really relevant, we suddenly started to see a strategy develop. And when we did that, we said, okay, then here's the way we're going to present it. We're going to use these pieces of the blueprint, a lot like the forms that you have in Divorce U as well, right? So we went through and we said, here's how we're going to present the evidence. She went in, her hearing was last week. She came out and she said, judgment was in my favor. And so she talked not just about the fact that she got the school system that she wanted for her kids, which is what she was fighting for. She talked about the fact that she went in knowing what to do and knowing what was coming next and feeling good about what she was giving and knowing that the way that she would respond to anything that opposing counsel said to her or that the judge said to her. She said, every time somebody questioned me, I had an answer that was succinct but thorough, just like you taught me. And she said, I was in control. And it was huge to see her face and to hear her voice when she's talking about, this is how it landed, because I had a system in place, I had help, and it was okay to go in alone because I had all of these tools at my disposal. And that's the kind of work that I know you and I are doing here that we're going to achieve with the Divorce Authority program. So I'm excited.
No,
I'm really
I know.
excited to be doing this for more people.
Yes. And the key words that you said there, which apply to what we do, is preparation, strategy, right? She went in with a plan. She didn't just go in with all her documents in a messy pile and figure and try to wing it. That's not the recipe for success. You have to prepare. You have to have a strategy. This is what we do in this program. We help you identify that strategy. We help you prepare as best you can. So you have a plan. So you know what you're going to say. You know what you're not going to say. You know what evidence you probably want to show the court versus stuff, like you said, gripes and things that may not be relevant for what's going on right now, right? Just because it's relevant to you doesn't mean it's relevant to the judge.
Right.
And that's the difference. And so as a former divorce attorney, I understand and I know what judges want. I know, depending on what you're trying to prove, what you need to show a judge, and what judges will probably be receptive to versus not receptive to. And your credibility, if you're going at it alone, is everything, right? So if the judge finds you prepared, organized, and ready to go, and quote, professional, that is going to impress a judge so much right off the bat and give you a leg up, even if the other side has an attorney. So that's the difference when you go through a program like this and work with Reneé and myself, is that you're going to be prepared for what's coming as best you can, and then you do it. And then you let the cards fall where they may. But you'll know at the end you did everything you could.
Right. And I do want to say that, there's a piece to what we're doing for people who have suffered from domestic violence, from men and women whose partner brought domestic abuse into their home. Then there are certain things you want to do in certain ways that you want to present that as well. And I'm really, it's always difficult to hear people's stories of domestic abuse, but I'm really proud of the stuff that we put together to help people to express domestic violence in a way to the court that is not going to make the court turn away from it, right? Because we know that once you start bringing in abuse allegations, that your chances of achieving custody are not great. We know that from statistics. We know that from studies with Barry Goldstein, the Saunders study, the Myers study, right? But we also know that there is a way to go in, that you shouldn't be silenced, that you do want to go in and you want to talk about these things when you're talking about custody, when you're talking about your divorce. And that's another piece of what we're doing with you.
Yeah. I mean, domestic violence is a whole nother animal. And it adds a whole nother dynamic to a divorce. And so we both have experience with that, and we could help walk you through that and guide you. And again, that's what this is about. It's about empowering you, telling you what your options are, kind of, and what path, forming a strategy to move forward. So you're doing things intentionally, right? You're not just walking around like a chicken with your head cut off, which is often how people feel when they're representing themselves or don't understand what is going on with their situation. And so again, we're keeping you focused, and everything you're going to do is going to be intentional. And again, that's empowering for you, makes you more confident, and it makes all the difference.
Yeah, agreed.
So let's talk about real quick. Let's talk about what people get with this program. I know we've alluded to it. It's a combination. So you get the full custody blueprint, which is Renee's program. You get full access to that program. And then you get full access to Divorce You, my program. Okay. So that is a wealth of information. And the goal of it is to empower you with information that you need to know, that even if you have an attorney, you don't get in this way, because your attorney doesn't have time to talk to you about it all. And if he did, it would cost you tens of thousands of dollars just to listen. Okay. So this is all the information that is at your fingertips, that we think you need to know as a client going through the process. So that's step one, right? Reneé, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. So there's going to be templates there for you to organize your documentation and your thoughts and everything that you need to turn into the court, right? Just general stuff to help you toward the stuff that you will need to bring in court that's specific to your jurisdiction, because obviously we're serving people throughout the United States and Canada as well. And so you're going to have certain forms for your jurisdiction, but the stuff that we do with your program, with mine, we've been doing it with people who are going pro se, but also with people who are not, because it's, as we've said, you need to partner strongly with your lawyer, because it exponentially increases your chances of winning. If you're on your own, why shouldn't you have these tools at your disposal as well? And so that's a big part of it. We're guiding you with how to go through court, how to present your court. So we've got these videos, we've got these forms, we've got these worksheets, we've got the kind of stuff that instead of just guessing and pulling things off the internet, you've got a full set of what you need to bring into your case. So that's the online component.
Right. And then we're combining that with live coaching with both Reneé and myself to supplement it. And the live coaching will be monthly calls, live via Zoom, like we're doing right now. And you can ask us questions. We're going to be doing hot seats or profiles of people to really dig deeper and kind of spotlight what's going on with you and give you more attention, which is also good for everybody else watching and listening and attending these calls, right? Because if one person is dealing with an issue, it's very likely that another person is going to be also dealing with a similar issue, if not the same thing. So listening to other people and how we kind of guide them will also be helping you. And that community aspect is really important, and just another support resource for you as you go through the process.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people who they don't expect, you think you want that just private one-on-one and that's it. And we do group coaching calls with the Custody Blueprint, and clients always walk away saying, you know what, that call was so dynamic. They were going through stuff that was similar and they are thinking of things I haven't even thought about yet. And now I can get ahead thinking about
Right.
that, knowing about that and getting that information. Or now I'm looking at my case even a little bit differently. And I realize I actually have evidence about something else that I want to bring in. Right. And that chance to talk to us and get that personal advice specific to your case, to just kind of see how can we guide you to the next step, right? How can we guide you as you're going in? That kind of stuff proves to be invaluable to folks. So I love doing these calls. I know you do too. So I'm excited to work with people in this particular capacity now.
Yeah. And people often feel so alone going through a divorce or custody issue. And being part of a program like this, being part of a community of other people who share that same stress that you are having is, like you said, invaluable. And it's just something that you don't really appreciate until you're in it. And then you realize, wow, this really is making a difference, right? Having people to lean on who won't judge me, who I can talk freely with, who are, again, being guided by you and me in a structured environment to help everybody. It really is. I love it. It's one of the best things that I do as a coach is these group calls. And of course, if you want one-on-one calls, that's going to be something that's always going to be available to you. Outside the program, if you need it, we do it. But the point of this program, the Divorce Authority program, is that you're going to be part of a group,
yeah,
and you're all supporting each other. And again, it really does matter. And the only way I can explain it is that you'll see it when you're in it. Right?
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, because I know whenever clients are first coming to us, they're always kind of like, whoa, okay, I know I need help. It seems like you know what that looks like. So I'm just going to trust that, you're going to lead me through what I need to know. And that's exactly what we're doing. And once you're in it, then it's like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. I get it. I always do warn people, it's a lot of work, right? It is. It's a lot of work.
This is true.
You're preparing your case, but if you want the right information and you want to succeed, then you do want to do a deep dive into all of these issues, into all of these things that you need to prepare.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, Reneé, because I say this sometimes ad nauseum, and I'm not sure it always gets through. You can't just be a member of the program and assume things are going to happen for you. Okay. That's not how it works. It takes work, right? We provide you with the access to the information. You have to watch the videos. You have to go through it. And then you have to formulate your questions to us to help supplement that, right? Of course, you're going to have questions. That's why we're here for you. That's why we offer the live calls to help answer your questions. But we're not going to regurgitate all the content that are in the videos for you during these calls. That's not the purpose of it. You have to watch it, spend the time, and you don't have to do it all at once. In fact, we both, I think, encourage you not to do it all at once because you'll want to kill yourself. But right, we have our videos intentionally at a length that you can digest, one or two at a time when you have time. You can access it whenever you want, wherever you have internet access. And that's the point. But you got to do it. You got to put in the effort to get the results.
And I think when you're doing that, what gets discovered is that as you're going through and you're spending this time, you're doing the worksheets, you're creating the templates, you're going through the videos, you get to figure out what your strategy is. Many clients come and say, I think I figured out what is really at the heart of my case. I thought it was this, but this is really it. And they come and they ask. And on these group coaching calls is when we come in and we say, that would be a very interesting strategy given what you're showing us, right? So, you can fill out something like if you're forming your timeline of disturbing behavior from the custody blueprint, you're like, how did I do? we're there to go through it live, and we welcome doing that stuff on these calls, because again, everybody's trying to create their timelines of disturbing behavior to show the court, right? Everybody's trying to figure out how to dynamically put together their evidence, and for you to have us to look at it before you go in is, the word we keep using is invaluable, because it's like the perfect word for the service that we've been providing to our clients. So
yeah, and that's why we're here to help give you our opinions as professionals, and objective opinions, right? We're not your friends, we're not your family. As a divorce coach, I always tell people I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Because that's my job as a coach, is not to sugarcoat anything for you. And then if I tell you, something that's really ugly, perhaps there's a way to make it not so ugly, right? That's what we try to do. Again, to put you in the best position to succeed. So we're really excited to launch this program. It's starting in November.
On November 1st, at the beginning of National Family Court Awareness Month.
Yes. But we're also, for the listeners of the podcast and our subscribers, we're offering early entry to get on a waiting list and to get in on the ground level, which is advantageous for you, because if there's less people in the program, there's more opportunity for you to get our attention and work with us before the program gets larger and larger. So we'll be sending out a link, how to get on the waiting list in the next few days. And you can do that and start the program right away before it gets opened at large in November. Also, if you're interested in the program, just feel free to reach out to either Reneé or myself. You can reach me at jason@jasonlavoie.com. And Reneé, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at Reneé at bestfootforwardllc.com. You can reach me there.
And just tell us you're interested, and then we'll get you in the right spot on the waiting list to sign up. And if you have any questions, also reach out, and we'll be happy to answer you any questions about this program. Again, we try to give you a pretty in-depth preview of what's involved, but we might have missed some things. We're very excited about it, so we're talking. We're just kind of like talking out loud here. Anything else we should say, Reneé?
I feel like people have a good sense of what's coming up, and hopefully now people feel hope about representing themselves in court, and optimistic about increasing their chances of getting what's fair for everyone and best for their kids, right? So
you know what we forgot to do, which is probably what the number one question people are asking right now. How much?
How much?
How much is the program? So we've priced this. So again, it's a fraction of what a retainer fee for an attorney would be. And that's twofold. One, if you can't afford an attorney, then hopefully this is more within your resources. And two, if you're planning on still getting an attorney, this again is a fraction of that cost. So this will still enable you to do that, but give you all the help that we're offering in the program. So the program is an initial period of 3 months. And the cost is, what is the cost again?
We're starting at just $14.97.
Right.
People to come in for now. So I don't know when you're listening to this podcast, but hopefully you are getting in on the ground floor with early access, because that is what we're starting at. So yes, a fraction of what you would be paying a lawyer, but also like I said, the other thing that makes us excited about this price is that even if you did decide to get a lawyer, you are so freaking strong at partnering with them and increasing your chances of winning. So,
Reneé and I both offer one-on-one coaching programs for a lot more money. And the reason we did this, again, we're combining our forces to give you all of our information that you get in our one-on-one programs for a fraction of the cost, to help you, right? This is all to help you get through this process with the resources and information that we think you need to know, that you won't know if you're not, a member of this program. So we try to make it as enticing as we can for you. There's nothing else like it. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to email either Reneé or myself, and we'll be happy to walk you through it. And other than that, I hope we see you inside the program. We look forward to helping you move forward. And right, we don't know how long this introductory price is going to last. The more people that join will dictate when the price increases, because obviously the more people that join, it's more work for us. So, don't delay if you're looking for help right now.
Yes. So looking forward to seeing y'all there, and so deeply grateful to be able to help people who are going in pro se, and trying to figure it out yourselves. Now you don't have to. So we're grateful to be there for you.
Yep. The help is there if you want it. So we're excited, and we look forward to seeing you inside the Divorce Authority program.